Introducing Denodo Deep Query. Deep Query goes beyond simple information retrieval and enables complex analysis that requires deeper reasoning. Deep Query is a new capability of Denodo's AI SDK, which integrates with large language models and leverages the Denodo platform to provide secure, unified, and real-time enterprise data to AI applications through a simple API. So this is the flow of Deep Query. A user asks a complex question that requires multi-step and multi-source analysis. The Deep Query agent sets an objective and formulates a step-by-step plan for achieving that objective. This involves executing multiple queries using Denodo AI agents to retrieve enterprise data through the Denodo platform and process responses until the objective of the analysis is met. Finally, it generates a comprehensive response containing analysis of these insights. So now I'm going to use the power of Denodo's Deep Query capability to do some detailed analysis on economic, financial, social, educational data around Jamaica and other Caribbean economies. So here I have lots of data, from the World Bank and other organizations around Caribbean agriculture, GDP, foreign direct investment, interest rate, life expectancy, debt, tourism, lots of information that gives you insights into different Caribbean economies. So based on that, I'm going to use the AI SDK and the Deep Query capability to do some detailed analysis on that data. So initially, I'm going to ask simple fact-based question on what is Jamaica's current GDP rate? And so using that, Denodo will then determine what views have information relevant to GDP growth rate, formulate a query sent to the Denodo platform to then retrieve that response. So here you see the current GDP growth rate is 0.9%. And it shows related questions to that. What was the growth rate last year? And you see this other type of question, that's the Deep Query capability. How has Jamaica's GDP growth rate trended over the past decade compared to some other Caribbean neighbors, Trinidad and Barbados in this case? In this case, I'm not interested in comparison to other nations. What I want to see is what would it take for Jamaica to grow at a GDP growth rate of 5%. And so this would utilize the Deep Query capability. So I generate a plan by which Jamaica can grow at a GDP rate of 5% over the next 10 years. And then I select the Deep Query option. And so based on that, it's now going to come back and ask me some clarifying questions around different metrics that I want to use, trends, what segments are relevant. And so I'm going to now say this is how I wanted to go about doing that analysis. Use all the metrics, consider all sectors. And so I'm here specifying how I wanted to go about doing this deep analysis of this data to then generate a growth plan to grow at a 5% GDP rate over the next 10 years. And so now, select send. And so at this point, Deep Query is going to generate a specific plan, outline all the steps, the different data sets which it needs to be able to do that query. And that's going to take a while to run through all those queries, get the responses, and then formulate a response. We're going to let that run for a while and then come back and look at it. Okay, so here you see a quick summary to achieve a GDP growth rate. And it gives, historical performance, socioeconomic and sector contributions, gap analysis, renewable energy expansion, and gives a conclusion. Now, this is a quick summary of its analysis, but I want some more details around this analysis to get a plan. So I'm going to ask it to generate a PDF report of this, and we're going to let that run for a while and come back and take a look at it. And so that's complete. So now we're going to look at this comprehensive plan. And so here we have it, a pretty comprehensive report around Jamaica's GDP growth strategy. So it first looks at historical performance and then outlines a plan to achieve 5% GDP growth rate over the next decade. Here it provides an executive summary showing the GDP, the key findings around the GDP growth gap, high growth sectors, decline in exports, which is a significant factor here. And some top recommendations: scale high growth sectors, reverse export decline. And it gives you lots of details, complete with charts and graphs to help illustrate the circumstances and recommendations. And then here, recommendations: accelerate investment in high growth sectors, commit 5% of annual GDP to renewable energy. That's a significant factor. Reverse the decline in export intensity by taking these actions: establishing export processing zones, launch a brand Jamaica, the comprehensive plan that, makes sense. And then here's the conclusion. Jamaica's experienced steady nominal growth from 1995 to 2022, 3.6%, but this falls short of the target, which we set in our request, 5% annual target. And so it outlines a plan and gives a summation of that. So here you see the power of deep query to go beyond just asking fact-based questions, information retrieval-based questions, and do deep analysis, deep reasoning to come up with a comprehensive plan for helping Jamaica to grow at a stated growth rate of 5% over the next decade. So in conclusion, Denodo's deep query unlocks deep insights into corporate data assets by providing deep, multi-step, multi-source data analysis that goes beyond simple information retrieval and conducts deeper reasoning to explain how and why things happen. Thank you.